Hello YouTube and welcome to another video. This one is basically a continuation from my last video where I did all the preparation work to fill in this old fuel door. In this one I'm going to be laying down some fiberglass using West Systems Epoxy and hopefully get this thing all filled in. I'm not going to be doing a jet ski show and tell in this video because I was a little bit rushed to do this project and the editing, but we will be picking that up in the future. Let's get right into it. Okay, so now that I have that roughly laid in there dry, what I'm going to do is use a piece of cardstock to make a brace, or to make a pattern for the brace so that I can get the angles right. I don't want to have to build up a brace that is like 10 millimeters thick, so I'm going to use a piece of EVA foam that I have here to be the core. From the factory, it's about 5.5 millimeters through the front area here. And so, yeah, I'm gonna make sure that it's at least that thick. I think I'll taper right down to a point because if I don't, it's gonna be a lot harder to lay the fiberglass. Straight from here. Back to there. Cut this angle so that it sits in there nice. I'm really hoping to get this done tonight so that it can cure overnight. And so that I can have one piece of the puzzle done. Up to this point, it's just been cutting more and more stuff off, so it'd be nice to actually do something where I was putting something back together. So that is going to go there, something like that. And then I will have another one go beside it. I think you guys get the idea by now. I'm going to try to walk you guys through this process as much as possible, or show you as much as I can, but I'm assuming that once this starts, I'm going to have epoxy all over my hand and all over all of the tools. So it might be a little bit tricky. In order to make sure that I get it in the correct order, or the order that I want, there's not really a correct order, I'm actually going to pull everything out and just flip it upside down and just set it on the jet ski hull here. And that way I'll be taking from the top and just placing it in. I was going to put some kind of mold release or some sort of wax on the plastic so that it came off easy after. But I don't think I'm going to do that because I don't want to risk getting anything on any of the surrounding area. And it's plastic, so it'll probably just pop off anyway. Different kinds of plastics are affected by epoxy in different ways, but I think this should work. So I'm just going to gamble on it, and if it doesn't, then I'll just sand it off from the other side. So yeah, I'm going to get some acetone, mix up some epoxy, and then we're gonna just go for it. One final wipe down with the acetone. There's no turning back now, folks. Try to get the epoxy actually onto the outer surface of the boat. Sometimes I call it a boat. The extra time that I spent taping this in place and making sure it was secure is paying off now, because if I were to push on this and it were to pop off, that would be a very bad thing. I mentioned this the last time I made videos about doing fiberglass repair, but when you're mixing up epoxy, or polyester really for that matter, but when you're mixing up your epoxy, you want to do it in fairly small batches so that you can manage it. You can always make more pretty quickly, but if you make too much, it can get to a point where it has what they call thermal runaway. Epoxy cures with what they call an exothermic reaction, and if you mix up a whole bunch of it, when it starts to cure, what happens is the epoxy starts to make heat, and heating epoxy actually makes it cure more quickly. And so you get into this problem where all of a sudden you run out of time really quickly. I almost dumped my epoxy. Okay, so I'm gonna try to carefully get this in place without getting a whole bunch of epoxy on my fingers. I'm actually gonna use the zip tie that I used for stirring. I'm actually pushing this underneath the edge. There's a little bit of curvature there, and I can actually push this underneath the edge a little bit and get it on the front side. I'll come back when the epoxy is mixed up, but basically what I'm going to do is lay the cloth out on here. I'm going to roll it out to make sure it's all consolidated together, and then once I get all of the pieces put together here, I'm going to pull them off of this plastic and transfer them to the hull. When you're laying this down by hand, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to have some spots that have a little bit too much and maybe other spots that don't have quite enough. By doing this, basically the epoxy that is in places where it doesn't need to be can get pushed into places where you need it more. I'm going to peel this stuff off of the piece of plastic. I'm going to throw the piece of plastic aside, and then I can take all these layers I can set them in place, and it all becomes one consolidated chunk of fiberglass with epoxy resin.
Suffocating, I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.
I have all the glass laid down that I'm going to lay down for the base. Now I've got these things stuck together, and I'm going to put a little bit of epoxy on them and stick them down in place. These do not require a high level of precision, and they're not going to be seen, but you guys are going to see them, so try to take some care to get them in there kind of straight. So the whole thing is about 7 inches wide. So we'll go centered at 2 inches. That'll give me room to put fiberglass on each side. All right, let's see. Is this gonna work? Okay, I'll put one layer on like this, but the remaining layers I'm going to have to do a little bit more accurately than that. I'm going to let stuff set up a little bit. It's not going to fully cure, and then I'll come out and probably put another couple of layers of fiberglass over the pieces. I was supposed to get fiberglass in the mail today too, so I'm going to go check to see if that came. All right, folks, it is a couple hours later. It's currently about 20 to 1 in the morning. I got some fiberglass cloth, just like one of these do-it-yourself bags. And then I got some chop strand mat. And I also got this, which is really, really nice. Looks really high quality. So much so that I don't want to take it out of the bag. But the weave on this stuff is very nice. I got some 6-ounce cloth and some 6-ounce chop strand mat. That way I should have enough to put the front on when it comes time to do that. All right, I'm going to take a look inside. I'll set the camera up so that you guys can see, and we'll see what's actually going on. It's 1 in the morning basically, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time out here, but I think I will actually maybe try to build these braces up, because if I wait until tomorrow to do it, I'll have to sand. As long as you're putting a coat of epoxy on before the old stuff cures, then you don't need to sand it. But if you wait till it cures, then you only get a physical bond and not a chemical bond. The difference between a physical bond and a chemical bond is the physical bond is just gripping to the surface. A chemical bond, basically it ends up being all one piece. And that actually turned out nice. It's a little bit tacky still, so that tells me it's not cured too much. I can definitely put some fiberglass just on over the top of that. 5.5 and 4 and 5 long. Okay, I've got a dozen of these cut out. So I've got 12 of them cut out, and I'm going to put these on before the epoxy cures up anymore. And then I'm going to cut out another dozen and put them on. 6 of these is only 0.8 of a millimeter, so 12 of these will be not even 2 millimeters, so I'm probably gonna put like 16 layers in total. Yeah, I've been running and running to keep it 100. It's all that I wanted, but lately I don't get the stomach. The higher the summit, the harder the plummet. They know me all over this planet. I'm just a man and I can't understand it. Proud that I win and I did it myself. Probably wouldn't if I got the help.
Hearing subliminals all on myself. Feel like I'm breaking, I'm falling to hell. Told me I'm sick and I tell her, oh well. Rather be dead than to know that I failed. Live for the chase, life is a race. I'm out of space, so me get on my face. I got a taste, want the whole plate. Finna get laced if you step out of place. Like, first off, you don't run nothing. All talk and your team bluff it. My squad, we all dream crushing. We ain't rushing, no discussion. All I know is us made for this. Paid for this, yeah, slave for this. Been down and I'ma get it right. Get on sight like. Down and I'ma get it right. Dead on sight like. Been down and I'ma get it right. Dead on sight like. Never really know when you're gonna go. Why you gotta put another foot in front of yours? Bury them toes, carry them close. I was never one to care about my mentos. I was like froze, now I'm on floor. Give me that smoke, but I can't get high. We do the most, here to inspire. Doing what I'm supposed, but I can't get tired.
I should just leave that black like that and tell people it's carbon fiber.
Run for your life every night. See in the dark, blind by the light. I got the spark, I got the pipes. All of my arts coming to life. Had to face my fears while I chase my peers, and I found my spot.
That was 2 pumps of epoxy and I got through the whole thing. I'm going to go in and get the roller so I can roll that out a little bit.
Been down and I'ma get it right. Dead on sight like. First off, you don't run nothing. All talk and your team bluff it. My squad, we all dream crush it. We ain't rushing, no discussion. All I know is us made for this. Paid for this, yeah, slave.
If you're using fiberglass cloth and you want to cut a nice straight line, basically I've got to cut out some squares and I want them to be 1 inch wider than this piece of cardboard and the same length. All you need to do is grab one of these threads, just a single thread, and give it a bit of a tug. I'll pull a couple out because it'll make my life a little easier. Now you can see, now you have a nice straight line to cut on.
I'm just calling to say I
All right, it is now 3:17 a.m. So I spent 2 hours and 40 minutes, I guess, doing this. Wow. Okay. I didn't think that. Okay, so this turned out really well. I had some epoxy left over and I decided to do this. There was a hole that I had ground all the way through. This was a previous repair that I had done, but I had only done it on the inside and not on the outside. So I'm now repairing it from the inside and the outside, so it'll all be one piece basically. Oh, point the camera in the right direction, Joel. I wasn't prepared for this at all, so I just jammed stuff in there, and yeah, the stuff wasn't cut out to the right size or anything, so this repair might not work. It's kind of peeling up. I'm going to clean stuff up and try to stay here till it gets a little bit tacky. I purposely ran some fiberglass back around the outside here to try to get it to kind of stay in its place, but kind of doubting it will. The braces turned out really, really well. I'm really happy with that. Because of where it is, I probably won't even do any sanding except for touching up around this area. This is where the bracket for the surf brace mounts. I purposely ran some fiberglass up over the edge, and it's for the same reason that I was talking about down here. I didn't want it to peel up on the edge here, and if you keep adding layers all to the same point, eventually it will peel up on you. So what I did is I ran some of the layers over the top, and that holds it on. Once it cures, then I can sand it off and it'll be nice. I'm extremely happy with the way that turned out, so I'm going to come back tomorrow and do a little bit more fiberglass repair. I've got a bunch to do around here and 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 then here and here. But I don't know how much of that I'll actually record. I might time lapse some of it, but it's all just going to be more of the same of what I did here. When I'm finally... I'm tired. When I'm finally fiberglassing the front fill, that's a lot of F's, in place, I will film it. And yeah, it is after 3:20 in the morning, 3:21 a.m. And so I am going to end the video here. Oh yeah. That ain't going anywhere now. Nice. Very nice. Take all the tape off. I wonder how easily this plastic's gonna come off. I kind of feel like it's gonna come off easy. We got a little bit of leak through with the epoxy here. Tiny, tiny little bit. And I got a little bit through here and a little bulge there. But all in all, let's see what happens. Oh yeah. Nice. Very nice. Wow. It's going to take a tiny bit of fill work from this side, and I don't think the profile of it is quite right. By profile, what I mean is how it's rounded out in the center. But yeah, very nice smooth finish. Looks like there is a little bit of an air pocket here between the first two layers and all of the, when I laid down the whole bunch of layers. Should have been more careful with that, but all in all, I don't think it's gonna matter. This is an incredibly strong piece now. You can kind of see through where the bracing is. That's cool. That's going to do it for this video. Obviously, I am quite thrilled with how that turned out. I'm quite excited to do the sanding and finishing work on this, but that's going to have to wait for quite a while because I'm going to do a whole bunch of repairs and then do all the finishing work at the same time. On Sunday, Josh from the Jet Ski Brothers let the cat out of the bag on what project we are working on together, and that is the V8 jet ski build. I am going to be building the exhaust manifolds for that project. They are going to be aluminum water jacketed manifolds. And yeah, when I get some footage of that, I will be sure to share it with you guys. That is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Go check out the Jet Ski Brothers, and I'll see you next time.